because as soon as my feet come across the next room, something shifts. Hello, this is your autistic weed friend Dylan here. Welcome back to the letter, and we're just gonna get right back into it. Maybe it's the last thing for Ashton. No, I can't. I can't do it with both of them, and I have to hear at least myself a little bit. The rain fell in fast, steady sheets, creating shallow puddles on the dirt path, drenching everything the eyes can reach. Despite having grown up in the city, I still despise the rain. Leaving here doesn't mean I have to like it. Lucky me, I've reached the mansion before the downpour has turned torrential. Rain is always a great thing and something that's horror-related. The long slog from Anslum village by foot has already been made difficult by the light drizzle and biting winds buffeting against my body every few seconds. By the time I found cover under the trees lining the vicinity of the mansion, my shoulders are already drenched. Oh, I'm wondering, is he going to find Marianne? Now that I think about it, Marianne still is like in the mansion. Like trapped in the mansion. My hair is also sticking up against my skin out in every possible direction. Thankfully, the lighter, taser, and gun I brought with me all remained relatively dry. That's the most important thing. However, those are the least of my problems at the moment. Sometime after the housewarming party, scumbag Wright has suddenly grown a brain and tightened the security around the mansion. Likely because of what Zach did. I'd never sent Zach in there. None. He wouldn't have gone to this. The guard is now stationed at every possible point of entry. The main entryway, the back door leading into the kitchens. Hell, it's almost a miracle no one spotted me once I entered the property, although it's probably because I kept close to the forest. While I can always create a clever way in for myself, under this deluge, it'd be difficult to do so without making much noise or leaving tracks.
I don't really have the luxury either, do I?
Concerning how off this place feels, since I stepped into the property and the mansion came into view, every light is off, even with security personnel on patrol outside. The whole house itself feels empty, eerie, too quiet. Normally I'll pass it off as some kind of power outage because of the storm. It's not a far off conclusion when this place is almost in the middle of nowhere. However, something just feels wrong.
Something happened here.
Or about to. This is the whole reason why I haven't done anything yet. Simply observing, watching, listening for anything. I might be pressed for time, but I'm not a careless idiot. Although I need a way in, desperately so. Moving without thinking will not only endanger me. With so many unknown variables in what we're dealing with, well, I also have to act on the assumption that someone is always in danger, especially in this place. I can't act impetuously. As much as I hate Wright, I'm not about to cause his death because of one thoughtless action. If there's a place he deserves to be at, it's in a prison, not a morgue. Oh, shit. So when a hoarse, painful sob suddenly rings out above the loud pitter-patter of rain, only then do I stir. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Is that Hannah? Or is that the ghost? A woman. Perhaps a servant? It's coming from the forest. Oh, that's not gonna be Hannah. Shred ahead, in fact, not too far from the house. Regardless, I give the place a quick weary glance before following the noise. Don't! Carefully keeping it to the shadows, one cautious step after another. Louder and louder it goes as I Okay. Until I abruptly turn into a loud, desperate, anguished cry. I break into a run. One nervous hand ready on the gun hoisted at my head, and the other raised for balance as I scurry along across the dense understory. Like, he's heard this voice before. Why does he not realize that? All of them have heard this voice before. And they go to the voice. I mean, sure, I led Zach to the voice myself. But, like, Zach was because of me. The other ones, they just end up going toward for no reason. They've heard the noise before. Dead leaves crunch under my shoes, but I pay no mind. There's only the voice, the woman, and nothing. Abruptly, it all stops when I am met with a sudden hush, blank, empty, almost stiffening in its stillness. Even with my labored breathing and pounding heartbeats against my ears behind me, another branch breaks, and okay, that does kind of sound like Hannah, but it's also distorted, so that's a big no for me. Dread surges within me while I spin around and take a hard step back, ignoring the chilly pinpricks crawling at the back of my neck. Before you can meet her eyes, the world unexpectedly pitches sideways, tilting till the ground beneath me finally crumbles. My hands fight for purchase, only to meet air. By then it's too late. My foot slips and the rest of my body follows. Dark spots blur the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp piercing notes of her laughter. More than that are the voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head, murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride. Over. It's because you didn't listen. And over. It's all your fault. And over again. Why won't you believe me? A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. What I'm trying to desperately fix. The scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off ever so slowly. Chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one. There is only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and forgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Did I call that we were gonna meet Marianne again? There's no way. Yeah, there's nothing in the timeline for November. Now that I'm thinking about it, there has not been anything for November. This is the farthest we've gone in the timeline. Half darkness greets me when my eyes finally snap open, the soft patter of dripping water somewhere spurring my consciousness further. For a few short moments I remain still, blinking away the dizziness, allowing my vision to adjust to the lack of light and my breathing to even out first, before pushing myself up on one arm and attempting to stand. Turning alone is a struggle on its own, an inch of movement since a stab of sharp pain right in my arms and my back giving me another pause.
Shit. I hope I didn't break anything. Fuck.
There doesn't seem to be any injury or a major fracture, although the whole of my back does feel sore and raw, probably from when I've skidded down prior to landing myself here. Comforting thought. The second attempt comes easier later, though no less painful. By the time I'm back on my feet, the exertion has left me gasping at short, shallow breaths and leaning heavily on the wall nearest to me. Behind me, a light draft blows in from where I've fallen. Coming in short, sharp breaths burst into what's apparently an underground tunnel, brings in the fresh, earthy smell of rain from the topside. Regardless, it fails to mask the old musky scent of the place, a mixture of mold, mildew, dust, grease, and something distinctly foul, like death. More worrisome than the putrid festering smell, however, are the cells that line both sides of the tunnel. Under the dim light, I can barely make out what's inside on some of them, but I already have a few ideas, all of which I refuse to delve into at the moment. Knowing how long this mansion has stood, somehow, no matter how unexpected finding the existence of this place is, it isn't too surprising.
I wonder if Scumbag knows about this.
I wonder too. Probably not, unless he's also looking at a person who takes joy in inflicting this kind of suffering on others. I don't really think so. He's rotten to the core, but not that rotten. He'll probably balk at this, move out at the first opportunity, and have it demolished. The very idea of what has occurred in this place years ago makes me reel as well. I read long ago, places like this tend to hold secrets. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Fear what I may discover in the mansion itself, and the tale behind that fucking letter. But fear is inconsequential. As unpleasant as the sight of this place might also be the only way for me to get out inside unnoticed. Sighing and taking one last gulp of clean air, I push away from the wall and delve deeper into the passage.
Let's just hope it'll be smooth sailing from here on.
Turns out that alone isn't too much to ask for this early. 20 paces into it, another sound of abrupt arrest from my footfalls. Ooh. Rebounding off the hollow walls and echoing inaudibly across the whole span of the tunnel before fading away just as swiftly as it rang. I paused, nevertheless, straining my ears for more of it, while I gradually moved my hand to my side, slow and steady, until the tip of my fingers brushed off the gun's handle. Although cold against my skin, it's the closest thing I have to comfort at the moment. For a long minute, I waited, holding my breath, watching every form, edge, and shadow at the corner of my vision for any movement. After a heartbeat and nothing, I allowed the tension to ease out of me in the form of a long, slow exhale that reverberates around the whole passage.
Who's there?
Oh, please tell me Marianne still. Please tell me Marianne is still alive. Please. Perhaps it's because of what has happened earlier or how I've ended up here, or maybe it's because of my training, but in spite of the panic and fear in the voice, I don't immediately answer. Instead, I pull my gun free from its holster, and wordlessly draw closer to where the voice rings out once again. afraid, frantic, weak.
I'm asking you a question. Who's there?
It's only after I realized at least a safety door answer while continuing our approach in a careful steady pace.
I think I should be the one asking you that. Who are you? Show yourself.
I can't. I'm stuck in here.
All the girls will definitely not be saying that or have a conversation like this or be stuck anywhere. And as if to prove her point, she sends a hand from one of the cells ahead and waves. As she pulls back, grips the iron bars and rattles it lightly.
I can't get out. Can you help?
In 5 quick steps, I'm standing in front of the cell, and sure enough, a woman's inside. Slumped on the floor, holding the bars with shaking hands, clinging to it as if it's the only thing keeping her upright. I don't see her in there, and not just any woman.
You? McLaughlin?
Same one I met at G's 5 days ago, smashed drunk and babbling her frustrations about her employers.
Holmes?
No, not McLaughlin. McCullough. Marianne McCullough, famous interior designer extraordinaire. Not so extraordinary now, with how exhausted and feeble she looked, trapped in that jail cell of all things. Her breathing shallowed, and there's a paleness to her complexion, sunken eyes, cracked lips, dry skin, all signs pointing to starvation and dehydration.
What? How long have you been stuck in here?
3 days? 4? I don't know. I have no idea anymore.
At least you're still alive, unlike the other two.
I just fell in, and that woman, whatever. Can you get me out of here?
In a moment.
Oops, sorry. I skipped a little bit of dialogue. Oops.
But here, go feed yourself first before you fall over.
An energy bar. I fish out an energy bar from my pocket and hand it to her. She's lucky I always have one on my person. For sudden emergencies or extended stakeouts, a little sugar to keep me going. Like any starting person, she wastes no time making a graph or unwrapping it straight away and taking it whole mouthfuls. Relief washes over her face on the first bite alone, although she's going to need more than that if what she said is true. But for the moment, it's meant to keep her alive. I think she seems to have a sense of prioritizing survival over comfort. If the put on the corner of the cell indicates it, okay. Without water, the human body can only survive 3 days. No food, and I'll give it an average of 3 weeks. Although, even then, it won't be a pretty experience. Granted, some have survived longer than that. She's still fortunate I found her when I did. Now to get her out. My bobby pins won't be of any use here, not like I need it, unlike the ones we have at the precinct. A simple barrel hinge holds the... Man, these... Did anyone proofread the dialogue? The gates to the cell together. Even without any special tools, I'll be able to lift the door and free her. However, with how heavy it seems, I'll need a lever of some sort to help.
What are you looking for?
Some wood, a 2x4, I guess, a plank or a pipe, anything I can use as a lever. Wait here.
The hallway yields nothing but dust, dirt, and a few rusted chains scattered about. I may find something in one of the open cells. I'm reluctant to check or even step in. We can't have another person trapped in here. However, Nicola ended up inside.
Well, there's no...
I had some inspect her. Nicola extracts a wooden board from under the mess of hay entwined near her. Without prompting, she slips it through what little space there is in between the bars. In short, it appears thick and sturdy enough for my intended purpose upon closer inspection.
Good enough.
I hope. I get to work at once, anchoring the other end of the plank at the base of the door and applying ample force on the other end. It takes a bit of effort, no kidding, but the heavy part is still a grunt, gasp, and creak. After a minute, with a little help from her on the other side, the door eventually lifts off its hinges. It falls on the ground with a loud, ugly, metallic thud, but the sound of it puts elation on McCullough's face. She doesn't even ask for help as soon as she can. She hastily crawls out of the prison as she had accidentally found herself in. More than happy to get out of it, despite lacking the strength to stand firmly on her feet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. After the second day, I was so sure I was going to die in there. If you didn't show up, today, I don't even want to think about it.
How did you even end up here?
For a second, she appears hesitant, looking away, fumbling awkward with her fingers.
I was looking for something, someone.
A contemplative expression flickers in her eyes, something that's close to wistful, like when a person remembers a memory she's fond of. It doesn't last too long, but it still leaves me the impression that I've suddenly walked into something private. Something deeply personal for her, I'd rather not ask.
So this whole tunnel, at the end of it, it leads right inside the mansion?
The wine cellar.
Right into the kitchen, then.
There's a door of some sorts. I don't know. I think I pulled or pressed something somewhere. I was in a hurry, and I'm not sure if it'll open from this side. Hell, this place wasn't even in the floor plans.
What do you mean?
Oh. Sorry, he's a little delayed there.
Does that really matter now? We have to get out of here. People died in this place. Kids! Oh God! Kids! I could have shown you, but that thing won't turn back on anymore. It's like it only waited for me to see it before shutting down or something. How long has that thing even been in there? But those poor kids. All because of that thing.
Wait, hold on. What are you talking about right now?
The bloody letter! Ever since I've read that thing, since that day at the open house, she won't leave me. But it should be fine now, right? I broke it. I broke all of it. She shouldn't be able to do anything now.
Mikala, one at a time.
It's all that fucking paper's fault! Oh God. Oh God. Dear Lord in St. Adelaide, bless those poor souls. We're not safe here. We need to leave. If we stay here any longer...
Mikalo!
Verbally, she stops, looks back at me with wide, panic-stricken eyes. I've seen enough of it so many times this past few days from my own friends, even, to know she has seen things, the kind that'll easily make any person go mad, and perhaps we slowly are. The longer this takes, the faster our descent into it becomes. I can't even tell which one's worse, death or this. Seems like no matter where we end up with, there will be something horrible waiting for us. We need to hurry.
Listen, I need to get inside this place, and you're more familiar with its layout. If you can help me...
What? No! Why would I go back? Are you sure you haven't gotten raving mad yet? An exit's right here.
And this business with the letter has to end at some point. Look, I know you're not very fond of Luke Wright.
Damn right I'm not. He can just go.
But are you really sure you want to leave him like this? And what about his wife?
It strikes a chord. She falters, grows quiet as the tension lifts from her and her shoulders slump. I do understand her issues with this. In fact, she doesn't have to go with me, only tell me enough info so I can figure it out on my own. So she can always leave afterwards. Be done with this whole damn mansion and letter. The other end of this tunnel leads right into the forest. It'll provide ample cover for her to be able to slip out of the property unnoticed. All the same, she seals herself and scars her shoulders.
Just until the kitchens.
That's more than enough.
She nods, albeit weakly. And without any further word, she gestures for me to follow, leads me further into the passage. Occasionally, she'll stop, find perches on the wall to catch her breath, but throughout the short walk, she asks for neither a break nor assistance. I suppose that's something we have in common. Eventually, we get to a dead end. Although before I can answer her question her on it, she begins pulling for something on the wall, twisting her fingers along the withered edges of the bricks with the frown on her face.
It should be somewhere here, I think.
What the hell are you doing?
She merely holds up a hand, begging for my silence to continue searching. Then, without warning, a few minutes later, something clicks. Portion of the wall shifts ajar to reveal a glimpse of another room. Bottles lining the walls, liquor barrels for aging. The wine cellar, indeed.
The ladder to the kitchen is on the far end of this room.
Surreal. This is all nothing but a surreal nightmare, but after everything, should this even surprise me? Ghosts, curses, hidden passages. Can't even bring myself to question the existence of this door anymore. Simply follow her to the undercroft without a single question, in spite of a number of them already swimming inside my head. As a kid, I used to crave for this kind of adventure, the stuff of mystery, detective novels, daring chases, interesting cases to solve. Suspects to put behind bars, just to serve. I was blinded, I admit. Now I simply want this to be over. We leave the door open in case there's a need for quick exit, especially after she mentions it's only by chance that she has been able to open the door last time. Can't waste time finding the switch again on the occasion something goes horribly wrong. There's bound to be. With me feeling this high-strung and tense, I'm not even sure why I thought it'd be a good idea to enlist Mikala's help. Although she has been quite helpful so far, I can't shake off the horrible feeling something's going to happen to her if she stays with me. Even if I'm her safe bet, if she wants to get out of this place alive.
You really believe that, don't you?
Oh, shit.
Did you say something?
Makala pauses mid-step, turning to me confused.
I didn't.
You sure? I just heard.
Don't you think I'll be the first person who will know? Look, the ladder leading to the kitchen's up ahead. You might want to hurry. I just want to be done with this place.
See? You dragged another one.
This time I'm sure. There's really a voice, well, voice is. Despite the look of protest Makala shoots me, I find myself stopping and looking for it, searching the immediate surrounding for the familiar form of the woman. I don't even have to venture far from where I'm standing. Just on a length away from me, the mirror shards litter the floor. Right on the biggest fragments, they speak. All singing the same mocking tune against my ears, letting it echo through the small undercroft. Murmurs, laughter, jeering, scoffing, deriding, releasing venom into every crevice in my head, taunting me.
Dragged another person into this, Ashton.
That's Isabella.
Into another one of your silly little problems.
Zach.
All because you can't fix them on your own.
Rebecca.
You really haven't changed, have you? Some hero you are.
Useless.
Pathetic.
Don't
You're
listen
wrong.
to You don't listen to him? My mistake lies in this first instance I've answered. The very second denial has slipped from my mouth that words have also seeped into my heart, allowing it to prod at and rouse my temper. Despite knowing they're merely doing this to goad me, each word, each syllable trickle into me, spurring the guilt I hope I've long buried.
Are we? Or is that simply what you've been telling yourself all this time? Something to make yourself feel better, perhaps?
What about Zach? Wrongfully accused, and you couldn't even get him out.
What about Becca? Oh, the way she fell to her death. But all you did was watch. Someone's dead because of you.
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
How does it feel, I wonder? To know you're responsible for all of this.
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Oh, but you can't. It's already too late. And you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure, and they are the ones who have to pay for it.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke right to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together. No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Ah, of course, someone just has to be fucking annoying right now.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Shut it!
I hate this. I hate how this must can easily get through to me. Every weakness, every insecurity, it knows to hear it said in my friends' voices even more so. What I hate above all is it.
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
Shut it! Not a single word anymore!
It laughs, sharp and piercing as its sound, something in me snaps, a rage, hastily and furling, red filling my vision. Next thing I know, I'm raising my hand and something grabs my wrist, followed by a buzz as another voice breaks through the haze.
Don't listen to it!
The fog in my mind lifts. Every sound, every noise returns to me, flooding my every senses. All at once, there is this deafening silence. Slowly, I become aware of my surroundings. Bottles of wine, barrels of liquor, and the faint old scent of death and decay somewhere, and a hand holding onto my wrist as if to keep me from hurting myself. In my hand, a shard Blood drips from where it has cut my palm, trailing down my wrist until it disappears behind my sleeve. Not too deep, negligible even. There is a pain, however, a different kind, an ache somewhere else that stems not from the wound, but where every single word has hit. I want to glance up at McCullough as she immediately stares at me with wide, horrified eyes.
Don't listen to it! No matter what happens, don't do what it says! It's how it gets us.
My grip on the shard falters, but only after I nod and drop it entirely does she release her grip. Afterwards, she simply steps back and looks away, hugging her arms closer to herself. She breathes a sigh, heavy, perhaps weighted with her own guilt. What this monster might have used against her.
Come on, we're getting close.
She walks off without another comment, but there's worry in her as she gives the fragments one last glimpse. On the ground they lie lifeless now, no more voices, no more insults, but even as I walk away, one whisper taunt continues to ring in my ears.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
Of course.
You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
I don't need to hear more of that. A fear. One that has been going long, kept in the darkness place in my heart. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry. On that small part of me, that a small part of me wishes for. The trapdoor swings open without much fuss. It isn't even locked, probably left open for when Wright asks for some midnight snack. I make sure the coast is clear, of course, before I pull myself and help McCullough out. The butler of theirs is nowhere to be seen. He's probably sleeping, attending to his master, or doing some extra late-night work before turning in for the night. You know, Wright won't touch anything to do with menial chores, not even with a 10-foot pole. It's impossible for him to linger here. No servants, not anyone. Just as easy as that, we're in. Gently, I close the hatch. If things go well, the same path will be our way out. If our luck doesn't hold, that's not an option now, is it? I have people waiting for me. I really don't want to think what might happen. Sometimes it's best if we simply revel in the little victories. There are great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this, fraught with unknown dangers, it's a feeling that lasts only but a second. Suddenly a sob. Fuck this. Hearing now from some distant part of the house, echoing throughout its empty halls. Beside me, slumped on the ground, pale and breathing heavily, McCullough immediately tenses. Her eyes go wide, and she grips the side of the counter with a force that might be enough to crack it if only she has the strength. As it is, she can barely stand. She hasn't fully recovered, makes sense of the 3 or more days without proper food or water. And it's this weakness that puts the fear in her eyes. She's aware. If something happens, if there's a need to run, she won't be able to. She's a liability at this
Holmes.
point.
I really don't think going any further is a good idea. Look at this place. Everything seems fine. Nothing's off. Maybe we should just go? I really don't like the sound of that.
You really don't have to come with me. Just until the kitchen, yeah? We're already here. You've done your part. From here on, I'm going on my own.
Yes, I said that, but...
Can you even stand?
She doesn't answer.
You'll only be putting yourself in more danger if you follow after me. You have an easy way out of here. Stay here. Once you're okay, I need you to get yourself out of this place.
What? I'm not going to leave you!
Well, I'm not taking you with me either, lady. So it's here or out there.
You really are mad, aren't you?
Probably all will be, if no one fixes this little curse problem we have.
You think you'll find something in here? This is just a mansion, for God's sake!
Maybe. It's worth a shot. Besides, if what we're hearing right now says anything, I'd say scumbags...
Who?
Right. He might be knee-deep in trouble and he has no idea about it.
McCullough still appears as if she's about to argue, so instead of more words, I unholster my taser and hand it to her. A standard issue for every member of Luxor police force, but it shouldn't take a genius to know how to aim and fire one. Even Isabella may just be able to use it without training. Yet Miss Interior Designer Extraordinaire stares at it as if just handed her something particularly nasty.
Listen, you want to wait? Fine. I'm leaving this with you. But if I don't come back here within 15 minutes, I want you to backtrack and get the hell out of here.
Are you daft, Holmes? I already told you!
In case something goes wrong, I need someone who can tell people what's going on. Who can tell my friend what might have happened here. She's at the crawl. You know the place, right?
I trail off, letting the meaning of my words hang in the air. want to be optimistic about this, really. However, I'm going against something almost everyone can't quite understand. I'm just being realistic with my chances. Mikala seems to understand this as well, from what I've said. Any sign of protest has already died from her tongue, and she simply looks at the taser quietly. For a moment, she just nods. There's that again. Behind the walls of this room, the cries continue to grow louder, and I take it as a sign to leave. Without another word, I step out the door. Look at that. Taser. Like a siren call, her voice beckons. Finding out who that is seems a good place to start as any. I really hope that's just Hannah. I keep to their shadows for the most part. Not that there's any need to. The entire place just feels empty. Odd when a house this big should have a large staff. You'd think there'd be one or two roaming about, or for some late-night chores, or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Should they have security posted inside as well?
Unless their security means the butler. Though I doubt Scumbag's that sloppy. He loves his life more than anything. Probably more than his own life. And the thing he thinks he's done, he's bound to make more than an enemy or two. It's also the kind who will do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
Potential danger aside, being on my own grants me a greater degree of mobility, which I'm more comfortable with. Sure, I could have enlisted Mikala's help. Next to the people who owns this, she's probably the one who's most familiar with the mansion. But the cons of bringing her outweigh the pros. She's better off somewhere quick exits in sight. With no tag along, I only have to worry about myself. I watch my back. Selfish, I know.
But necessary.
In the same manner this whole plan is, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when the house's layout is fairly simplistic, almost mirrored, with only a few modifications in the room. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp of this place's ins and outs. As long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me, where the woman's cries are leading me. Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure if I should be trusting what I'm hearing. You shouldn't. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training speaking.
I just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
Oh, please, no. Nothing's ever that simple, is it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural? Nope. Because as soon as my feet come across the next room, something shifts. I remember this from the first, and I think second, chapter. In a flash, nearly without fanfare. It happens in the blink of an eye. I almost miss it. In one moment there's red, in the next, standing alone in the foyer. For a brief instant I pause, glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice as if my movers will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pulled on the floor, no eyes watching my every movement. Only the same cries gradually growing or intensity with longer delay, along with voice.
Mother.
Desperate.
Where are you, Mother?
Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. The place is not entirely empty. Then a better question now is who? Definitely not Scumbag or the butler. I've yet to see hide or hair, nor hair of them, and not knowing their whereabouts puts me on edge. I have to be careful to not make any noise or be seen. My throat is gonna die. Maybe the wife, though one can't tell if it's her the way the walls echo her voice. Nevertheless, it pushed me to move, taking almost 2 steps at a time, despite the sickening feeling that something's lurking me, even beyond every great shadow, every small corner I pass, as if the house has several eyes watching my every movement, as if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. Fuck this. I don't want to end up accidentally recording for almost 2 hours again, so I'm stopping it here. In it, though it may end up being more like 30-something minutes, I don't want to overexert my voice because there's a lot of reading in this game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, then subscribe. Check out other videos I've done. And I guess see you next time.